Good morning and welcome everyone to Mind Mosaic podcast for this week. I'm Elaine. I'm the project coordinator for the survivor service that we run in Mind Mosaic. I'm accompanied today by a past client, Jane, who's kindly agreed to just have a chat with us today about the trauma we're in just now and how the work she's done in the past has benefited her to managing this current situation. So I'll introduce you to Jane.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane, and as Elaine said, I had therapy in Mind Mosaic a few years ago, and I'm here to talk about how that has benefited me in the current COVID situation.
And yet, Jane, you're right, it's unprecedented what we're in at the moment, and it's new for us all. And clients are saying to me just now that we're all in the same boat, and how am I not managing as well as other people seem to be? There was a great saying on Facebook or one of the social platforms a couple of weeks ago about we're all in the same storm but a very different boat. And that really resonated with me with my awareness of working with clients, because it's like a double trauma, if you like. So we're in the trauma currently, and that can open the boxes of past trauma that hasn't been looked at, that's been filed away.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Elaine, and I feel very fortunate that I have had trauma therapy before this pandemic, because it has given me the tools to be able to manage it in a way that I wouldn't have managed it previously. I wouldn't have recognised previously that past trauma was coming up or something was being activated in me. I wouldn't have recognised the signs in my body, whereas now it still happens, but I'm aware of it and I know more what to do now to reduce that.
So you're talking about during this current pandemic that somehow you've been triggered still to some past trauma, but you know how to manage it and keep yourself in the here and now in the current situation.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. I think sometimes I realise that I'm being activated even when I maybe try my coping mechanisms and try not to be, but I suppose it gives me that confidence that I would just keep trying, still doing whatever coping mechanism I think is best at that point. And it does tend to bring me back down. And I think probably before I had my trauma therapy, I would have panicked and made things worse again because I wasn't being able to calm myself down.
So you're talking about, have you experienced periods of hyperarousal when you felt anxious and quite activated, and also periods of hypoarousal when you've been quite dissociated and sitting in the house and not really be able to function very well?
Yeah, I have. I've experienced it a lot in the past, and I've experienced it during this pandemic, but not to the same extent.
Yes.
Just because I can recognise the hyperarousal now, and I know if I don't bring myself back down from that, I will go into a state of hypoarousal and be dissociated. So yeah, I use my coping mechanisms, whatever one, like usually like breathing or having an object that can bring me back to the present, something that I can ground myself with. That tends to be the methods that I use now.
So you still use some of the resources that you experienced in trauma therapy, like the breathing exercises, orienting to an object, grounding, psychological and physical grounding, to keep you in the here and now in this current situation.
Yeah, I think they're resources that I'll probably always use, simply because I know the work and I know the benefit I get from using them. Yeah.
And I guess a big part of that is trauma is about losing, it's unpredictable, and you don't have control of what's going on around us outside. But what we do have control of is our internal system. We can support and manage our internal system to be in the here and now. And that's what you're talking about, Jane, around using breathing exercises and objects and just grounding. Because you can't change the situation we're in, but what it sounds like is you're really managing it.
Yeah, I would say that is it, because before I learned these techniques, before I had trauma therapy, I was very much affected by everything around me and had little control. And knowing now that I can have some control even in this, if I just listen to my body, listen to myself, and note my own behaviours, and see where I'm getting anxious, because as I said, it still happens, but it's that awareness of it now that I can notice it's happening. With things like maybe if I'm talking too fast and I'm feeling a bit breathless and I'm getting a bit agitated, then I know that it's, that could then go on into something that I would find it much harder to come out of. So I know now to stop myself with that and maybe take some time out or do some coping mechanisms. Yeah.
And what does your day look like just now then? Do you do your breathing exercises at set times? Because I guess the whole part for me is trauma is unpredictable and it hasn't got any structure. We haven't got any real structure outside at the moment with what's going on, but we can structure our day to manage how we're feeling, what thoughts we're having. What does your day look like just now?
Well, a bit like what you said, actually, I do structure my day for the most part. Sometimes I let myself have some time off from that, but generally speaking, I get up in the morning, I have my breakfast, I get myself organised, and I always do a meditation stroke breathing exercise in the morning. And then usually I go out for quite a intense, but a nice walk with the dog as well to get some fresh air. And then I'll do whatever I need to do in the day, and I tend to do a meditation again about 4 or 5 in the evening. Although if I notice during the day that I'm not feeling great, I might go away for 5 minutes and just do some extra breathing.
Yeah. So really monitoring your nervous system, how you're feeling, and putting some you time in as well. So going a nice walk with the dog, being connected, and that really feels like you're being present in the here and now and in your window of tolerance that Jane, you'll know very well that we talk about. When we're in our window of tolerance, we can manage situations. It doesn't make them a nice situation. COVID-19 is not a nice situation to be in, but we can manage our internal way of being with that. And that involves that structure, because it's the only thing we can structure at the moment is what we do in a day, to get up, to get dressed, as you say, to just sit and ground yourself in the day. And also to monitor how much input you're having about COVID-19. Do you know, I think at the start we've seen a lot of people hyperarousal. So they were stockpiling at the shops, they were watching social media all day, they were watching the news and really, really triggered by the whole situation. But then there was a kind of going into a new normal, a calming down for some people, a dissociative state, if you like, for others. And now again, it's been aware that we are now, with the lockdown easing, we will be getting into a new phase of trauma, a phase of back being connected again. How do you feel about that, Jane?
Well, I think what you're saying is right, actually, about the sort of hyper-arousal initially, and then a lot of people get into dissociation. As I said, I've tried to manage that, but I'm not immune, so there have been times where it's been a bit more difficult. But at the minute, I feel okay. I feel like really quite in the here and now, but also aware that when I suppose we move forward a bit, and when everyone slows down further, this could be the time when trauma creeps up, even for me. I'm aware of that. So I guess, I'll just be still being aware, still looking after myself. One of the most important things I took from trauma therapy was the looking after of myself, and if I feel as though I'm quite activated or anxious, to know that I can take 5 minutes out away from everyone and I don't need to explain that, and it just keeps me well, and so more able, I guess, to deal with whatever's going to come.
And I guess I really liked you saying there, Jane, that you're not immune. And I guess as a therapist as well, I'm not immune. And there's been days when I've found it harder to be than others. And it's about that taking care of self, and really monitoring what's going on for me, and asking for support if I need it from my peers, having that connection if that feels important, or being a bit disconnected if that also feels important, to monitor myself. So I guess what it is, we are all in this new trauma, but if there's been a bit of work done on self, sometimes you have the resources to manage it slightly differently. And I want to just add before we finish up about, we do have our COVID-19 helpline, so please use it if you are suffering from any of the symptoms we spoke about today, because it is a trauma that we're in, and Mind Mosaic is here to support you. And I really want to thank Jane for coming on this morning and just having a chat around what's going on for us all at the minute. So thank you so much for that. And maybe, Jane, we could catch up in another 3-4 weeks or so and just see how that movement forward to maybe getting out into the world and connecting with people again has impacted you.
Yes, Elaine, thank you. I'd like that. Yeah.
And thanks very much. And you enjoy your day and enjoy your walk with your dog and your meditating. And take care and stay safe to everyone. Thank you, Jane. Bye.
Bye. Bye.